everyone. Welcome to Playmakers. Welcome back, I should say. I'm Hayley Elwood. It's officially week one, and who better to help kick off week one than Chargers radio sideline reporter Shannon Farren. Shannon, how's it going? We made it.
We made it. I'm so excited for this season, Hayley. It's so great to be back out there. You don't even realize how much the fans bring a game to life until you hear the roar of the crowd coming out of that tunnel. So definitely excited for this season at SoFi.
I know we're going to talk some Chargers 2021 football, but I do kind of want to rewind back to 2020 because for those who might not know, someone in your role, 2020 was just so different. But the good news is just these last few weeks, you were out there back on the literal sidelines, not in the moat for the preseason. How good did it feel to get back out there on the field?
It felt great. Last season was just eerie with, like I said, the guys coming out of the tunnel and all you could hear was the applause on the sideline. I wasn't allowed to be on the sideline. So sideline reporting was very difficult, as you can imagine, because it's all about the sights and what you hear and the feel of the team and the energy and who's talking to who and what position groups are getting it the worst from their coaches and how it's all playing out. And I was kind of like in a moat at SoFi, right in front of the first seat. And so I'd kind of like walk back and forth along that first row, but it was really hard to hear anything, any of the conversations, get a feel what was going on. If there was an injury, it was hard to have eyes on exactly what part of the body they were looking at and how serious it was. And so it's just great being that close to the action again and being able to tell everyone who is listening on the radio what exactly you could see there with the guys on the sideline.
Yeah, I remember I listened to a podcast last year that Erin Andrews did, and she talked about how, because it was the same for TV sideline reporters, they were in that moat with you. And she mentioned how disappointed she was when she first got the news, but she was still in the arena. But it's just so different. What did you really miss most about not being down there on the field?
Yeah, and I think it was just hearing those conversations, when you had a vocal quarterback like Phillip Rivers, because that's the last season I was down there for, you could hear who he was going and chewing out, whether it was Keenan or
fans.
Absolutely. And the fans as well. Last year, what changed was I would just have storylines going into the game, things that had happened in practice, different questions with position players and how we dealt with injuries and how Justin Herbert was coming along. And so I just go with those storylines during the game instead of things that I'm seeing on the sidelines, which is challenging. It kind of changed the way the job was. So I'm glad to be able to give people more information and content this season.
Let's talk about those fans. I know you mentioned just how much you missed them last year. I think we all did. And I think not that we took fans for granted, but when they weren't there at games, it just felt like you said kind of dead, just nothing really exciting going on to rev anyone up, all of us even. I can't imagine what it was like being a player. Just how excited are you to get all of them back, not only at SoFi, but also on the road too? You're now back in sort of fun, hostile environment kind of games.
Well, you and I are both fans. And
Yes.
I remember walking into SoFi for the first time at FanFest and seeing the hundreds of people streaming in and almost brought a tear to my eye to see fans back there, just because I know what it means to go to these games as a fan and how much a part of your life it is when you're that big of a football fan. And it's nice that Justin Herbert had a season without fans, to be honest. He was able to learn more quicker and not deal with the fans in Kansas City or in Denver or, those great stadiums that bring it when the Chargers come to town. So for that aspect up, I think that was great. That's going to be a learning curve for him. I think he'll be able to champion it. But that'll be different. It's just great to see the fans back there and to hear them on third down. The fact that we had 68,000 fans at SoFi in preseason. I mean, that was the wildest preseason. It was the most highly anticipated preseason, I think, ever, with people's excitement just to be back in the stadium.
I think it's funny because the NFL obviously shortened the preseason this year to add the extra week to the regular season, but everyone was so stoked that it was like, we have games again. I mean, even the Hall of Fame game I was watching, which was done on Fox, and it's like week 0 of the preseason because it's that kind of bonus game. I barely knew any of the players playing, but still it was like football's back and there's people in the stands and it's just so exciting to have it back.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into Justin Herbert a little bit because you just mentioned him. Just what really impressed you about his 2020 season?
His poise, from the time where he was told, 90 seconds before kickoff that he was going to be starting because of what happened to Tyrod Taylor. His poise, he's unflappable. And that's what you look for in a quarterback. He's gotten heat in the past. He got heat when he was coming out of college about not being the typical alpha dog leader, not being super vocal, not being the Phillip Rivers, being kind of the anti-Phillip Rivers in the way that he carries himself on the sideline, very quiet, a student of the game. But you know what? That's so key. That is what you need in the huddle, right? I mean, there's this great story about Joe Montana leading this drive in the Super Bowl. And, he's talking to his line and the game is on the line and he says, "Hey, look over there in the stands. Isn't that John Candy?" And it's that kind of cool, that kind of calm that Justin Herbert has. He wants to be the same guy in the huddle all the time. And to him, that's what leadership is. And I think that that's an amazing leader and maybe a new type of leader in the NFL. Maybe we look at leadership in a different way with guys these days. But his poise and the way he treats his teammates, you can see the respect he has for them shine through. And I think that's very important on the sidelines and when games are on the line.
I think that was something that was really just interesting to me watching last season because he was brand new, literally brand new, and he was not expected to be the starter. And then he's not only building relationships with some of the megastars on the team like Keenan Allen and building that on-field rapport, but also the off-field rapport too. And you can tell that respect factor that you mentioned, you could absolutely tell that was building and growing and has evolved into what is expecting, I guess, to be an exciting year too. What do you really expect from Herbert in this season?
MVP.
Okay. Nice.
I mean, I think he's favored in Vegas more than Aaron Rodgers is favored in Vegas. This is going to be an explosive offense. He's going to put so many points up on that board week in, week out that I think anything short of MVP would be kind of disappointing.
We'll take that. Now, one group that'll help him hopefully get there is this offensive line. A lot of retooling that happened this offseason. This group has yet to play a game together yet. But what did you really make of some of those moves, bringing in some other guys and also drafting Rashawn Slater to really fortify that group?
Yeah, I think that was a great draft pick there at 13. I think that Tom Telesco had his eyes on this unit, in particular on the offseason. It's been quite porous, shall we say. In previous years, there have been some injuries. It was good to see Brian back at practice this week, dealing with that hip flexor issue, which hopefully will work itself out. Rashawn is huge. I know that he was ready to go at the last preseason game, but they kind of held him back just out of an abundance of caution. And Corey Linsley, I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago. He's very impressive. Staley calls him a commander out there. The way he's able to read defenses is really impressing the coaching staff. And they think it's really going to help with Justin Herbert and his development as well.
I mean, I think you can say that. Obviously, a guy who's worked with former MVP Aaron Rodgers for so many years, his entire career up until this point. And he also strikes me as one of those guys who is kind of like a Herbert, just like a calm, kind of steady leader, doesn't get too vocal, haven't seen him get too vocal out there, but provides that sort of just steady hand that really not only helps the entire offense, but helps the quarterback too.
100%. He has the same demeanor out there, unflappable.
So when you talk about leadership, let's flip to the defense. One of the biggest leaders on this team, Derwin James, coming back. Just how great is it going to be to have him back out there?
It was funny. Joey was talking this week about how he likes to watch or look at pictures where they're both lined up on the edges. Like it's so exciting to him. And it's so exciting to us too, just to see Derwin James flying around out there. He can line up anywhere, be it linebacker, safety, cornerback, edge. He is incredible. And he, like you said, he really is not just a defensive leader, but the leader of the whole team. That's why he has that C on his jersey this season. And so he's also going to be calling plays for the defense. He really has matured. I think you've probably seen it too. He's matured so much in the 2 years. It's hard to believe we've only seen him in 5 games just because how explosive he was in those 5 games. So it's great to have him starting the season healthy and in this new role as leader of the entire football team, face of the franchise, really.
It is so funny when you mention Joey because they really have not played a whole lot together. And so getting those two on the field is going to be just awesome. going to be dynamite. And obviously new head coach this year in Brandon Staley, who is going to be leading this defense as well. What did you see from him? You really had a front row seat to watching Staley sort of navigate this role down there on the sidelines.
I don't like to throw around the word genius, but he's a really smart guy, and the energy that he brings and the intensity, it's only leading to more expectations. The other big E word down there. He is really fun to watch the way he interacts with his players. That respect that we're talking about, it really comes from the top down, doesn't it? And you can tell, cares about his players, respects them, wants them all to know that he is there for them as well. He makes sure to make contact with all of the guys in pregame warmups. He runs the stairs. I know he's 38. He's one of the younger coaches, and it was the juxtaposition of him and Pete Carroll last week was pretty funny. The 70-year-old and the 38-year-old. They match each other when it comes to energy. You got to give it to Pete Carroll. But seeing Staley run the stairs up there at CenturyLink Field in Seattle was like, oh my gosh, that's our coach right there. That's awesome.
It is great. The energy factor is high, and I think that'll be a huge motivating factor too for this team, getting them going in addition to all the fans on the sidelines, in the stands, I should say. But here it is, week 1, Sunday officially kicks off the first game of the season against the Washington football team. Let's use that E word. What are you expecting out of this one? And just what are your sort of expectations for the Chargers team in 2021?
This is going to be tough. Mentioned Rashawn Slater not playing it yet, really. It's going to be tough when you look at that Washington football team defense. It's going to be exciting because you've got the offensive rookie of the year against the defensive rookie of the year and Chase Young. And he's a lot of fun to watch, and he's hungry, and he wants it. And that's going to be a great matchup there. I think that maybe we have a couple bumps. Nobody played in preseason, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. We saw it last year with no preseason, and all the stars, many of the starters held out this preseason. I think it's a great move that they held them out, by the way, with just looking at the Chargers history with unfortunate injuries before week 1. So it's good to have everyone healthy for once. And I think it's going to be a great game. I think the Chargers go 12-4 this season. Hayley.
All right.
I feel good about this.
13-4. We got an extra game now. This match is really difficult.
That's right.
Not my strong suit, but got you there. But yeah, okay. So 13-4. Is that a division winning record, or really good in the AFC West and maybe a wild card spot?
We'll have to see what happens with the Chiefs. I think we take at least one from the Chiefs. It's a tough division. Yeah. It is. So we'll see as we go.
We're excited. Again, it all starts this week. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on. Have fun out there in Washington. I know you're going to be out there. Really enjoy it. Maybe get some stadium meets down there.
You know it.
Yeah. Yep. They're back. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Take care, Hayley.